Before we begin, take a deep breath. Because sometimes, love doesn't begin with fireworks. Sometimes, it starts quietly, with a glance across a cafe window. You're listening to Love and Us, stories that remind us that love is still out there, waiting in the most ordinary moments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that warm the heart and stay with you long after the sound fades. Tonight's story, When She Sat by the Window. Every morning, just after 8 o'clock, Ethan would walk into the small campus cafe near Pine Hill University. He always ordered the same thing, black coffee, no sugar, and sat by the window, facing the courtyard. That seat had become his quiet corner of the world, a place where he could write, think, and just be. But lately, that seat came with a view. Across from him, at the next table, she always sat there, sketchbook open, earbuds in, lost in her world. Her name, he'd later learn, was Lila. He never spoke to her, never even tried. But he noticed the little things, how she'd tuck a strand of hair behind her ear when she focused, how she'd hum softly to whatever she was listening to. They were strangers sharing a silent ritual, two people anchored by routine, unaware that something was already taking root between them. The rain that morning was heavier than usual, the kind that made the world blur into silver streaks and reflections. The door swung open suddenly, letting in a burst of cold air, and before Lila could react, the wind lifted her sketchbook right off the table. Papers scattered everywhere, sketches of buildings, faces, maybe dreams. Ethan was on his feet instantly. No hesitation, no thought, just movement. They both crouched down, gathering pages. Her fingers brushed against his, light, electric, unplanned. She looked up, smiling shyly. Guess the rain wanted to see my work too. He chuckled softly. Well, it's beautiful. The work, I mean. That was the first time their silence broke. And somehow, after that, silence didn't feel quite the same anymore. When they finally sat back down, the air felt different. Ethan hesitated for a moment, then asked, "Can I buy you another coffee?" You know, as an apology on behalf of the wind. Lila laughed, a soft, genuine sound that made something shift inside him. "All right," she said, "but only if you let me draw you while you wait." He froze for a second, surprised. "Draw me?" She smiled. "You've got the kind of face that thinks too much. I like faces like that." From that morning on, they started talking. Not much, just pieces of themselves here and there. But for Ethan, every conversation felt like writing a story he never wanted to end. The next day, Ethan arrived early. Earlier than usual. He didn't even realize why, only that he wanted to see her again. He picked the same seat by the window. Ordered 2 coffees this time. And when Lila walked in, she stopped for a moment, noticing. He raised one of the cups slightly, smiling. "I thought I'd save you a trip to the counter." That's how it started. Not with a confession, not with a plan, just 2 people sharing mornings, one quiet heartbeat at a time. What started as a single shared coffee became a rhythm neither of them expected. Every morning at the same table, by the same window, 2 cups, 1 sketchbook, and a notebook filled with unfinished poems. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. But even in silence, there was something alive between them, an understanding that didn't need words. "Ethan, you always draw the same view." Lila, asterisk laughs softly asterisk because it changes every day. The light, the people, the mood. Nothing ever looks the same twice. He smiled. "Maybe that's why I keep writing here. Because you never look the same twice either." She looked up then, eyes lingering for a second longer than usual. And in that moment, something unspoken passed between them, something neither was ready to name yet. When classes ended, they'd sometimes walk together across the wet campus paths. The air smelled of pine and rain, and puddles reflected the orange streetlights like little mirrors of another world. Lila always carried an umbrella too small for 2, but Ethan never seemed to mind. He'd walk slightly closer, careful not to touch her shoulder, as if the closeness itself was enough. "Lila, you ever think about what comes next after graduation?" Ethan, all the time. It feels like the edge of something. Lila, yeah, like the next page of a story you don't know how to write yet. He wanted to tell her that maybe he'd already found the story he wanted to write. But he didn't. Not yet. Finals week arrived. The cafe turned quieter, filled with tired students and half-drunk lattes. Lila studied with headphones in, sometimes tapping her pencil in rhythm with songs Ethan couldn't hear. Every now and then, she'd pass him a note, "You look too serious." He'd respond with a doodle of her sketching him back. There were no dates, no declarations, just the kind of closeness that makes time disappear. One evening, as rain drummed against the window, Ethan finally asked, "What are you listening to?" She pulled out one earbud and placed it in his ear. Soft jazz. And a silence that said everything they couldn't. It happened suddenly, like the weather changing mid-afternoon. Lila walked in one day with a different kind of energy, nervous, excited, uncertain. She sat down and looked at him for a long moment before speaking. "Lila, I got something. A fellowship. Florence." She said it softly, like it wasn't real until she said it out loud. Ethan's smile came too easily. "Lila, that's incredible." But his chest ached in ways he couldn't name. "Lila, it's just for a year. Maybe 2. It's a big chance for me." "Ethan, yeah. It's perfect for you." She smiled faintly. "You're the first person I wanted to tell." Outside, the rain started again, light, almost gentle. And for the first time since they met, Ethan didn't look at the window. He looked at her. The night before her flight, she called him. "Meet me at the cafe," she said. "One last time." When he arrived, the place was nearly empty, just the hum of the espresso machine and the soft patter of rain. They talked for hours, not about goodbyes, but about small things, music, coffee, and the first morning they'd met. Then Lila reached across the table and slid something toward him, a folded piece of paper. "Don't open it yet," she said. "You'll know when to." He nodded, memorizing every second, every look, every sound. Because sometimes, the heart takes pictures memory can't replace. A year had passed since that rainy night. The cafe was still there, same smell of roasted beans, same window seat, but everything else had changed. Ethan had graduated, moved downtown, and somehow turned his late-night writing sessions into a small book of short stories. He told himself he didn't write about her, but every page carried her shadow between the lines. Every Sunday morning, he came back to that same cafe. Same seat. Same window. Maybe out of habit. Maybe out of hope. The barista knew his order by heart. Black coffee, no sugar. And every time, Ethan glanced at the chair across from him. Still empty, but never forgotten. That morning felt different. When he walked in, the barista smiled. "Barista, hey, someone left something for you." She handed him a small, worn envelope, his name written in handwriting he knew by heart. He stared at it for a long moment before opening it. Inside was a folded note, and a small sketch of the cafe window. Underneath it, words written in soft pencil. "If you're reading this, it means I finally stopped pretending I wasn't in love with you. Florence was beautiful, but it never rained the same way. I'll be back soon. Save me a seat by the window." Ethan smiled, that kind of smile that comes with tears. The kind that feels like rain on the inside. Weeks later, the first spring rain arrived. Soft, hesitant, familiar. Ethan found himself back at the cafe again. Same time, same seat. He placed 2 cups on the table. One black coffee. One with cream, the way she liked it. The bell above the door chimed softly. He didn't even have to look up. He already knew. She stood there, rain in her hair, sketchbook in her arms. Her eyes met his, and time, that quiet thief, gave back everything it had taken. "Lila, still saving my seat, huh?" Ethan didn't plan to stop. She smiled, sat down, and opened her sketchbook again. Outside, the rain kept falling, the same, and yet somehow brand new. That day, they didn't talk about the past or the months apart. They just sat there, like they always had, writing, sketching, and watching the rain. Some love stories don't need grand gestures or second chances. Sometimes, they just need time to find their way back. Ethan glanced out the window, the world blurred by soft rain. Then he looked at her, the same seat, the same smile, the same heartbeat he'd been waiting for. And this time, he didn't look away. And that's how love returned, not as a storm, but as a quiet rain. You've been listening to Love and Us. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more moments that remind you, love is still out there, sometimes, just sitting by the window.